CSIS 2470 is filmed before a live studio audience.
Howdy gang, it's your friendly neighborhood Stone Cold Professor walking through how to do your midterm. So, here we go. Read through all of this, of course, but let's just look at the basic structure here. You're going to do your regular folder setup like you do in all of our projects. And then inside the secrets folder, you're going to create two files, index and create.html. And here's what goes inside of the index. And pay particular attention to things like this where the name is specific, because if you don't use a specific name in the instructions, then none of your code will work. Because what you're going to be doing is tying into some PHP code that I've already written. And so your HTML, when you click submit on the form, it's going to go to my PHP code and do all the back-end work for you. And that's how it works in the real world, right? You'll have a back-end person and a front-end person, and they'll communicate with each other, explaining what variable names need to be and so forth. So I'm your back-end person, and you all are the front-end folks. So the first thing, and I'm going to show you a live version of it here. The first thing is going to be a login form. And you can see right here the action. I'm giving you specifically the action of the login form. You need to use that exactly. That's my PHP that I've written. You'll also notice that there's a hidden field, right? And the hidden field value needs to be whatever the URL is that you would submit for this assignment. So if I were a student, mine might look something like that. jeffstone.com/2470 secrets. It needs to have all of those pieces there, HTTPS, all of the stuff for the URL. So that needs to be in the hidden field. If that's not there, this can cause some issues as well with your assignment and it won't work. So that's the login form and the details are there. Then this is the create form. This is the page where you will create a username and password. So a brand new user could come to this page and create a username and a password. And again, here is the file that does that for you. That's my PHP script that I wrote, and it is different from the one right here. Notice that there are two different files. So the create page, when you click the submit button, it'll go to there. And again, you need to have that hidden field with the exact same thing that you put here. And of course, it needs to be the URL that you're going to submit for the assignment. But if they are not the same, if they don't match each other, then your whole project won't work. So this is very dependent upon my code working with your code. And again, that's a real world scenario. You have a PHP person or a back-end person that has to make sure that each of the front end and the back end folks are talking to each other and communicating. So consider this video my communication, and in the real world, if you do that properly, then everything will work properly, right? And I kind of outline all that again here with the note here, just to remind you of some specifics. Next up, the image folder. If you use any images, you just stick them in there. The CSS folder, and make sure that you put your CSS skills to the test here. You're going to see my site has no CSS, and it's very bad looking on purpose because I wanted to completely have no layout at all so that you're not influenced by what you see on my screen, right? I want you to come up with your own ideas, okay? So that's the CSS portion of it. And then the JavaScript, I'm just going to demonstrate this, but you'll be able to see it all in action here. These are the criteria for the username. Has to have at least 6 characters, at least one number, at least one capital letter. Or excuse me, the username is just those two. It's just only letters of the alphabet, lowercase or uppercase, and it must be 6 characters at least. Then the password has these restrictions. And then there's going to be a validate password field, and those have to match. And until all that stuff is true, the button to click to process the form won't even be enabled. So let's get to the live version of it real quick, and then we'll come back to this. Like I said, no CSS, right? I put a background on it and I centered it, but that's it. So if I try to log in right now with Jeff Stone or something like that, it won't let me. I can click this or not click this, it won't matter. Because when I click login, my PHP, notice you're now on my PHP file here, it says invalid credentials, meaning those are not in the database. So click try again, come back here, and there's nothing in the database at the moment. We have to create an account. So let's do that. We come down here to create an account. You'll notice here that the create account button is grayed out, and now we're on my live project, scmlinks.com secrets create, right? And if I go back here, it takes us to the index, right? So I'm on create right here. And the username. So the moment the user starts typing to create an account, I'm going to try to type an account name Jeff. You can see if this gets out of the way here that it's saying you must use only letters and be at least 6 letters long. And if I start typing JEFFREY, then that little message goes away. But the moment I put a number in there, it comes back. And so notice how my text is jerking, or the interface is kind of jerking to the left when that message appears, and then when it disappears it jerks back. That's a bad user experience. I'm going to leave that up to you to fix. But now Jeffrey is a valid username. Now if I go for a password, let's just go for B. Now notice here I get this big long message again. The whole form shifting over, that's bad. Again, an exercise for you. That's part of what you're kind of being tested for with the good interface on your midterm. Also notice that you can see the password there. That's only for teaching purposes on this video or for explanation purposes. Normally when you type, it should look like stars, right? And that is something that you should know how to do. If not, you'll have to look that up. But it should not show the letters. All right, so I'm typing B-E-A-V-I-S, and I'm going to put the S as a capital, and I'm going to put a number 8. And so that clearly works. But you'll notice down here it says the passwords don't match. And this should happen as they're typing. And notice the create account button still hasn't appeared yet, right? So B-E-A-V-I, if I do a lowercase s and 8, it doesn't match. But if I do the capital S and 8, it does match. And I got a little message there that says match. And now I can create the account. So I click create, and it says user added, back to login. So let's try it. Now we can try to log in. If you followed all the instructions properly with that hidden field and everything, it will direct back to your site, specifically your site, so that you can try to log in. So here we go, Jeffrey, and then Beavis, B-E-A-V-I, capital S8. And remember, this should not show like it is here. It should be little asterisks. Okay, now these two pieces here, the secret song, movie, book, whatever, and the colors here are from the advanced content section. So I'm going to select movie, and I'm going to change the background color to be red and the text color to be white. And then when I click login, those credentials should work, and it let me in, and it took me to the secret movie, which is Back to the Future. And then I can go back to my site here, or it'll go back to your site if you followed all the instructions properly, right? And notice the background's red and the text is white. So let's go back here, go put my name in again, and this time I'm going to do TV shows, and I'm going to leave these black just to show you what will happen. Secrets. The reason the background is white and the text is black is because the colors you chose on the login screen were the same as each other. They must be two contrasting colors, right? You can't have black text on a black background. All of this stuff you're seeing here is all managed by my PHP code. You don't have to worry about any of that. All you have to worry about is this page, and you have that button. When you click it, it will go to my PHP code. And then the create account page, same thing. You fill it out, click create, and it'll go to my PHP code, and all the error messages over there are captured by me. And then let's go back to the login. If I put the wrong credentials here and I click login, this is my website saying those are invalid, right? You can see that's my PHP code right there. So you don't have to worry about that. All you have to do is make sure that your regular expression works properly on here, activates the create button, and then once you create the account, you test it and try to log back in. One last important piece here. When you test your site, you can test your regular expression locally on your regular laptop or whatever computer you use, but you will not be able to test the credentials and the logging in and all that stuff unless you're actually live on your live server. Otherwise, that part won't work. So build all of the page, make it look the way you want and everything, and you can even test out your regular expression and make sure your home page looks really good and get all this done. Then publish it live on your live server. Then you can test if this page and if this page work. Otherwise, you won't be able to test it. And I did remind you of that right here down at the bottom when it talks about testing, right there on bullet point letter E. This is a really good project to mimic the real world, how it's like to work in a real work environment where you're not necessarily or even very likely to be the front end and the back end programmer. So you're working with your back end programming coworker named Jeff Stone, right? And so I'm your back end coworker programmer, and you all are the front end. And we've now had our communication, our little meeting on what things you need to do to make sure your HTML and front end JavaScript and everything ties into my PHP properly. That's it. Good luck on the midterm. We'll see you in the next one.